I didn't grow up down here in the Umpqua Valley. I grew up south of the Puget Sound, surrounded by huckleberry and salal and Oregon grape and cedar, and grew up snacking in the forest there. Today I live in Portland, Oregon, and I support the work of the Intertribal Gathering Garden, and there we have a project where we're looking to create access to our foods within Oregon park systems and in publicly managed lands. Throughout Indian country, we have many things that inhibit our access to our traditional foods, ranging from issues of pollution to private lands to areas that were decimated or no longer traditionally managed. And so as we start to come back and remember these foods, we're reclaiming ourselves, we're reclaiming our cultural history and our stories and our identity. And these plants are very much our teachers, and more than I think more than just about anything else that we can do, coming back to these plants is a real source of healing for our community. Today I'm at Culture Camp, Cow Creek Culture Camp 2015 at Bear Park, and the workshop that I'm hosting is a traditional pit oven. This is knowledge that I acquired through the Northwest Indian College. They have a traditional foods extension program, and I was able to learn a pit roast there. And pit roasts are something that are used, all indigenous communities are using pit roasts as a way of cooking foods. I think most every indigenous person that I have had a conversation with, they say, oh yeah, this is how they do it. Sometimes it's with sand or in the dirt, and the varying factor across all the pits is what foods you're going to place in the pit or what type of plant vegetation you're going to use to line the pit. One plant that traditionally we would have cooked in really large pits is the camas bulb. It's a starchy, high carbohydrate food source, and we could make cakes out of this and flour. We could thicken soups with it. We dig it with a traditional stick. This one that I have, and I dig today still. It's not a past tense that we digged camas. We are still digging camas. We are still gathering our foods. This is my stick, and this is made out of yew wood, really hard wood, and an antler. And when we go out into the fields, we will put this into the ground right next to the bulb, and we'll push down into the ground until we're just under it and give it a little pop right up out of the earth. And this is a indigenous technology, indigenous science, a way of caring for these plants and gathering these plants that at the same time would be aerating the soil. And when we're out gathering the camas and pulling them up, we're leaving other bulbs and increasing their health so that they can be larger and more abundant out in the prairies. We can look across these oak savannas and remember that the reason why these oak savannas are here are very much because of our relationship to this plant, because of our ancestors who would burn. We can't burn today, but the prairies would be burned to increase the health of the plant and limit the competing plants that would grow. And then here is the seed. The seed can be pulled off right about now when they're all dried out and rattly. We pull the seeds out, and then we can replant these into the ground. But camas takes a good about 7 years to flower and to be ready to either transplant or actually be able to see them flowering. So it's a real commitment to these plants. And our camas bulb and the gifts of our camas, we have many plants that were gathered and are still gathered today. Our acorns are here today. Would have been ground into a flour, and we would have leached the tannins out. And that's another food that grows out in those oak savanna prairies. And I have some of my flour, and our foods, we don't have to rely on just one, and in a lot of ways we can't. They aren't quite abundant enough for us to gather them in large quantities, but one jar of acorn flour, and you can treasure that for a whole season. Add it to pancakes or biscuits, and whenever and wherever we can, just bringing our traditional foods into our diet. Tea, I call that a gateway plant. Our teas can be harvested, dried. We can make them into sun tea. We can make them into a nice hot tea. Our yerba buena is a plant in the mint family, and our elders have shared with me that this was our Indian tea, and so kind of a cure-all daily tea to enjoy. In addition to the pit roast and the teas today, we have our tools here. Baskets. This was recently weaved. This is an Umpqua style basket, and this would be used out in the prairies when we're gathering our roots. I've gathered yampa and camas both in this tule basket with the strap here. We'd call it a burden basket. Just wear it over our head so that we can use our hands as we work. It goes just along our back. I also like to wear this basket just over my shoulder, just like so. So there are a lot of limits to access to our traditional foods. Anything from pollution to our huckleberry plants are being raked by people who are selling them for profit. And so when that happens, the actual plant is actually pretty damaged. And so continuing to go to our huckleberry grounds and gathering our huckleberries and being with that plant relative is really important as we both protect it, remember the knowledge, remember the place where we go and gather together, and remember how to care for that plant. So at camp this year, we have dug a pit, and we line this pit with rocks. You want to make sure they don't have any cracks in them. We line the rocks, they're lava rocks. I gathered most of these up off the mountain. And we will just line this pit with our rocks, so we have a single layer of rocks. And then we have a fire that we'll put on top of this, and it gets really hot. For about an hour and a half is how long the fire burns. And once it's all down to embers, we're ready to add the plants in. And this is kind of a messy pit right now. This is leftover from yesterday from our workshop. And we had mostly youth yesterday. It was so exciting to see all those kids here learning about the plants, the gifts of the plants, how to gather our plants in a good way. You never want to go out and just take all of one plant. We want that plant to continue to grow, and really knowing that plant so that you know how it likes to be gathered, going out with a plant teacher in the field so that you're sure what you're eating is safe. So with the plants that we chose to layer, they're all plants that grow really abundantly in our areas. Some of them more so up in our foothills. Down here in the prairie, it's mostly our white oaks and wildflowers, and we have our cottonwood along the river. So we have what was gathered. This is about half of what we'll actually use in the pit roast today. We have the first layer will be our Oregon grape, nice waxy plant that really resists being laid on top of the embers. And then we do a layer of salal. Salal has a super tasty berry, and like some participants of the workshop shared yesterday, many people think that the berries of this plant are poisonous. They are not. They are super high in antioxidants and healthful and tasty. Jams are on top of salmon. So this will be the next layer on top of the Oregon grape, and they also add a nice flavor. All these plants add flavor to the foods we're cooking. The salal has kind of a sweet flavor that gets brought into the vegetables that we're cooking. After the layer of Oregon grape and salal, we do a really large layer of our sword fern. And sword ferns make a nice bed for the plants to lay on. And then after the sword fern, we bring in our big leaf maple. This is, I would say, a medium-sized leaf. These grow quite huge. And this is a more delicate plant. And this plant makes a nice bed for the vegetables to lay right on top of. And then after we bring all of these plants into the fire, we'll dump our root vegetables and maybe some squash, onions, carrots, potatoes. Those are the foods we've chose to have with us here today and holding place for our camas. And then another layer of the sword fern and the big leaf maple are going to go on top of that. And we're going to pour steam into the pit. And lastly, we cover it with a burlap sack and then put the dirt on top. I think I've talked longer than it actually takes to do this. We timed ourselves yesterday and we did it in 2 minutes. So we have a record to break today of 2 minutes getting the pit all closed up. And once it's all closed up, that steam is going to cook the food. And it's going to cook for 2 to 4 hours. Our camas, however, would have been cooked for 26 to 36 hours. It takes much longer to cook camas to transform that bulb into this sticky, sweet goodness. And after the time has passed, we pull back very carefully so the dirt doesn't fall back into the pit. We're going to pull back that burlap sack and enjoy the gifts of the food and the yummy flavor.
So just so everybody can have a reminder of all the steps, because they go super duper fast once we get it going. We're first going to have Oregon grapes going to go in. All of it. You're going to scoop it up and you're going to open it. Grape! Get it spread out and on there. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Fast, fast, fast. Help put that maple, guys. Help the rest of the maple in. Maple in. If you don't have busy hands.
Yeah, we got to put something on top.
Vegetables, vegetables. Potatoes, hurry, hurry, hurry. We need that water. Dump it, dump it, dump it. There we go. Grab it. Woo! Dirt.
No,
Other burlap. Get the other burlap.
Number it up. We'll go close.
Do it long ways. Don't step in the pit, guys. Stay safe. Go on this side.
Dump it in, Jim? Yeah.
Yeah, close it up. Use those shovels, start spreading it out. There you go.
Good job! 1 minute!
Oh, we're gonna fit it, come on! No. Gotta be no steam.
Right here!
We need way more dirt. We need it up on there.
Oh, got to pile it back up.
Get over here.
Throw your back in. Not yet.
Somebody help. I'll pile this in. Let's just lift it and dump it.
There's not much steam. Go. There's a little bit over here.
Sometimes this straight out.
Okay, start digging nothing over here. 9, 8, 7,
Oh, I see steam.
5,
Right there.
4, 3,
We need more in the middle.
2, 1.
Right there. I think that was it. So see how we didn't have enough vegetation on top, so what happened is it's coming through the burlap sack a bit. But that's all right, we'll just rinse those off. Mashed potatoes. Yes, that's some mashed potatoes. So the potatoes are super duper done, so when you guys grab them out, try not to squish them, try to pick them up nicely and set them down on the
And how that created a layer from the dirt coming in. So now, because we didn't have that really thick layer on top before we closed it up, that's why that dirt came through. So we'll just make sure that step is taken care of next time.